Welcome to Binge Theory, the coolest corner on the internet. We have a deep dive review of the movie Dune. And with us today, we have Eric.
Hello.
We have Kelly.
Hi.
We have Logan.
Hello.
And of course, you know me, Julian. I don't go anywhere. I'm always here. So we have just seen the movie Dune. Some of us in theaters, some of us on HBO Max. And we're just going to dive right in and give you our thoughts. So let's go through just like the obvious thing. You know, did we like it? Yes or no? Let's start off with Kelly.
I really enjoyed it.
Interesting. So, now I want to expound upon that, but yeah, let's just go with the high levels. Eric, yay or nay? Did you like it? No. Yes or no?
Yes, I did.
Excellent. All right, Logan.
Yeah, I was also a fan.
Okay, I thought this was trash. I hated this movie so much. No. I'm sorry. I'm trying to do some controversy here because if we all like it, that's a very short episode. No, I liked it too. I did like it too. That was a false lead. I do have some notes and some things that I'll talk about, but I mean, all in all, Denis Villeneuve knows his way around a camera. Well, I mean, I know he has a director of cinematography, but he just knows filmmaking, and I will say that. Let's cut this up a little bit. Let's talk about the cast real quick, because for those that are old enough to remember the Dune that came out back in what was it, 84. Interesting how they reimagined those characters for this one.
Don't forget the 2000 and 2003s either.
I did forget that. Now, was that a series or
it was mini-series? It was 4.5 hours each. One was Dune, one was Children of Dune from, I believe, the Sci-Fi Channel. At least Children of Dune was Sci-Fi Channel back then. I don't know if the first remake of Dune, if you will, was also them or not.
Interesting. Yeah, because I completely forgot about that. I remember the name Children of Dune. Don't think I ever saw it.
Oh, that was actually the first place, and it's actually been popping around online again. What was his name? He played the young Professor Xavier, James McAvoy. That was James McAvoy's first big movie that I'm aware of. Children of Dune. Yeah.
Interesting. And this is direct-to-TV movie, right?
Direct-to-cable.
Direct-to-cable. Because what's funny, and I won't go too off the rails.
I think it was a sci-fi miniseries, actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I gotta throw my nerd card out there. The first movie I remember McAvoy in, where he played, it was interesting, kind of a road trip comedy. He played a quadriplegic who had befriended somebody who I believe suffered from a neurological condition similar to what did Daniel Day-Lewis have in My Left Foot? A condition similar to that. Anyway, it's a great movie. That's where I first saw John McAvoy. Very thin, very young, and there you have it. That's my McAvoy trivia for the day. But let me just go down some of the list of these names. For Paul Atreides, we have Timothy Chalamet. What did you think?
Great. Although it's the book describes everyone that has olive skin. This is like way in the future. Humans have intermingled so much that there's no defining race, and everyone has an olive skin tone. So would I have rather of them chosen someone not so white, maybe?
That is really interesting.
That's a good point. Yeah,
Kelly. No, that's really, see, I never read the book. I'm sorry, I don't know the source material. My reference is the 80s one where everybody was, European then. Interesting. So in the book, it portrays everybody as just being gray.
Like those future people from South Park. Where everyone's like this olive skin tone,
and even olive tone
features.
Yep.
Oh, that is interesting. But acting.
So I don't know. Some of the controversy about this being a white savior thing could be because of the casting choices, but we can get into that later.
That's true, but I mean, come on, it's Hollywood. I mean, no matter how sophisticated they want to make it, they're trying to put butts in seats, and if Idris Elba showed up. I don't think that, not my Muad'Dib. That's what I think is trending. But
I think he
get
did a great
yeah.
job in the role.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, acting wise, I thought he was really good. Now, there was it was, I don't want to say, Dune so white. I don't want to say that because it was interesting. I actually appreciated that to the extent that the characters on Dune were more ethnic. And I thought that they may have been going for that, where these people of this sand planet were a little, because you had Harvey Bardem, Zendaya, you had and I'm blanking on the other person that was there, but it did seem like that they were more ethnic there than on this planet, and I could actually accept that because for like thousands of years, even though they do travel, they had a home world, right? Or am I misreading that?
Well, I mean, I kind of got the impression that the indigenous people a lot of the time lived underneath the sand. So it was either kind of like they're in those tunnels or they're on the surface. But then, geez, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's right.
I don't want to say anything wrong here.
It's all a movie adaptation of a book, so in some ways, all of it's wrong.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But yeah, they seem to indicate that they could get off-world if they wanted to, but for the most part, I think you're right. They lived in the tunnels and the rocks and cliffs and shadows kind of the planet because of just how hot the day got and other stuff.
I think that they've also been exposed to the spice so much that if they leave the planet where the spice is that they'll have this terrible withdrawal period.
Drugs are bad.
Does that make sense?
So the spice is basically coffee, right? And without it, they get these.
This coffee could also power space travel. Yes.
Listen, I'm not going to say it can or it can't, but I'm drinking it anyway. Let's do some quick comparisons. Okay, so do you like this one better than the 80s version?
Oh yes,
yeah.
So much more.
Yeah.
Of course, both were done with a unique visual palette. I mean, you had Lynch's version, which I don't think people were really ready for, and honestly, I don't think people are really ready for this either. I mean, I think you got to be a real sci-fi head or somebody our age that's seen the original and even has a point of reference, because it's not Star Wars, it's not X-Men, it's not the Marvel Universe. It's more of a thinking man's science fiction, something that deals with. I mean, it's Shakespearean. I mean, you have politics, you have betrayal, you have obviously the messianic metaphors. So I think it's definitely a higher conversation than your typical movies that we've been enjoying. It's not Venom. Let's just say that.
I mean, after Kelly and I saw it, we watched it last night. We probably talked about it for a good half an hour after that. And we were talking about it today for like another half an hour, 45 minutes. Now, granted, part of that conversation was because I fell asleep. And she was trying to figure out, at what point did you fall asleep and at what point did you wake up, But I think we both kind of agreed that I missed about 15 minutes of the movie or 20 minutes. But it is a super long movie. And there's a lot of settling in, I would say, to this movie. You kind of you're there. You're kind of waiting for some kind of amazing like action sequence to occur or whatever. But the fact that we talked about it a lot, whereas kind of after the James Bond movie, there wasn't a lot of discussion. It was so I thought that was a great thing. I really appreciate his movies. This director is Villeneuve is amazing. I definitely plan on rewatching it, which I can't say for a lot of movies. So anyway, that's just my kind of 5 cents on it.
I 100% agree. I'm definitely going to watch this again. And you're right. No Time to Die isn't really a think piece. It's basically a goodbye note to the this iteration of 007. So, and this one again, I'll say this. I don't know if it's because when the first one came out, I was a kid, but this one was so much more digestible in regards to the actual story. Because they laid it out in a way that I could really understand, the politics behind what the and again, and I hope I don't cross this with the Star Wars universe, but the Emperor, what he had put into motion, kind of like a setting up to fail thing, and when they got on the planet, and Duke Leto was saying, they're setting us up to fail because. And it was because they basically wanted to kill them. So, but I didn't get any of that from the first one. The first one was just a lot of imagery and things.
No, I was totally lost in the first one.
Yeah.
I was just like, what? I don't even know what the heck is happening here. But this one, I came into it with a confidence that the director was going to deliver something good. And I kind of know the Timothée Chalamet, character. Like, he wasn't some very foreign actor to me, and I don't know. I was ready to go, man, when I was watching this, and I was looking forward to it. And I don't know. I really enjoyed it, and I'm really interested in that universe.
That being said. What were your thoughts on them? And spoiler alert, but this is a deep dive. Them literally ending the first, leg of this one right after he finally earns the, the trust of the and what's the name of the tribe, the peoples that he was
the Fremen.
The Fremens, yeah. When he finally kind of, is accepted into their world, and then roll the credits. Do you think that was, and I'll say it this way, do you think it was smart to end the first film there without even having a second film in production?
I mean,
or schedule,
yeah.
production. Yeah.
I mean, there's some chatter kind of online about Villeneuve was taking a chance in this movie, he took a big chance. And for me, I felt like he delivered. Was it long? Yes, it was long. But it's kind of like when you go into an art museum, and you're looking at a painting and you like it, right? But then you can read more about where the artist was when they were painting this thing and what they were going through, what the world was like at that point. And you get more out of the picture later on, And so I feel like this is a picture that's really, it's got more to give, and there's a future to it as well, So I'm just I was really, really happy with what I saw.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, the David Lynch one didn't, not that it was even a thing back then, it didn't create a universe. Even though there was a universe of material in those books. The detail and the storytelling to which, Frank Herbert did, just trying to create his own, world down to the most minute details, but also somehow not quite too much. Everything that was in there was just so descriptive without being unnecessary. It was really just an incredible job. That was this world was created in 67, I think, was when the book came out. And I think the sci-fi miniseries, nobody was thinking sci-fi could create anything of kind of a lasting universe. And I mean, they had 2 miniseries out of it. That was 9 hours of cable theatrical movies that they did. But this, I mean, everybody's looking for universe. This is an established book series with the history. And I think he was a big enough name and had big enough names in the movie to be like, this will work. This is going to be the jumping off point. So I get Avatar 2, 3, I'm sorry, Dune 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah.
So he needed to nail it with this. And I think he nailed it enough to get it. And he should, because I want to see the rest of it.
Now, of course, it's show business. So do you think they hindered themselves? Well, not Denis Villeneuve, but do you think Warner Brothers hindered themselves by doing a dual release on HBO Max and in theaters? Because in theaters, I think the numbers are going to suffer. I don't even know what the box office is, but I have a bad feeling that they'll probably just break 50 million, if that.
They week. May, but we wouldn't be here talking about it if they didn't have it on HBO. It would just be you talking by yourself.
True. No, which has happened on occasion. But what I'm saying is about getting that momentum to roll into a sequel and a trilogy, etc. Because I just have a bad feeling that even though the reviews may be good, I don't know if it's going to have that draw that maybe they would try to have in the theaters a year or two down the road. I'm just concerned that the studio may be meddling in the success of this.
I haven't been able to get a sense of, obviously they're not releasing the numbers and they don't want to, but in this kind of hybrid world, it's easy to go, okay, what's a box office bomb or success compared to its budget? What's a sleeper hit that hits on DVD at X amount after a thing? Like, you can kind of guess those things. I can't get a sense of what the different studios are using as their metrics for their different platforms, because the numbers that Disney's going to bring in for Black Widow is not even going to be comparable to whatever numbers or whatever things that HBO is looking at for Dune, just from sheer volume. So to some extent, I think they have to look at it as eyeballs in the seats. And, if half their audience on HBO Max stream it in those 30 days, what is that compared to their other early release movies as far as how many people watched them? Whether it was, The Many Saints of Newark or Wonder Woman or
Black Widow.
No, anything else on HBO. I'm saying HBO comparing to HBO. How did it rank against their own ones? And then, where do they go from there? Dune is not a bright and shiny Star Wars. It is not a, J.J. Abrams Star Trek. It is not a utopia in any way, shape, or form. So there's an interesting, how do you market that? How do you, a twist to being able to make this an appealing thing? And in some ways, this might have almost been a benefit to them for being able to soft launch it this way for more people watching on HBO Max that might not have taken the risk at this. Yeah, there's some names, but it looks kind of gloomy. Maybe I'll go see something else in the theaters.
Yeah, I can see that. I guess the time will tell. I would like to see a extended universe. Coming out of this, I just think that people are stupid and they won't like seeing things that they don't process, like Thanos or Darth Vader. I think politics and don't get me wrong. I liked how Denis Villeneuve made this so much more digestible about the motives and the legacy of the House Atreides. And I thought that, again, I use the term, but I think it's apropos, Shakespearean, and just like this family and their turmoil within, how Rebecca Ferguson, Lady Jessica was essentially a witch, but married, the Duke, and had this child that was conflicted, but she was raising him to be.
Didn't marry, but was.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, concubine, as they
say.
Yes. So, but in the whole witch aspect of it, I thought that was very interesting. It was very, I appreciate this so much more than I thought I would, because I remember the David Lynch. I was just like, oh, because again, not familiar with the source material, which I think you don't need to be to enjoy this one. I think you can just hit the ground running because it spells it out. There's just enough exposition where it'll get you over those "what are they doing" humps. Let me go down the list again. So Timothée Chalamet obviously is Paul Mordib. Rebecca Ferguson is Lady Jessica. Oscar Isaac is Duke. I'm on the fence with Oscar Isaac so many times because he's never been bad. He's always really been good in what he's done. For some reason, I feel like I've been forced to watch Oscar Isaac. You know how I call it the Sam Worthington syndrome, where they basically just say, here's your leading man. And I'm like, no, I decide. But he's good. I mean, I've loved him ever since Ex Machina, and even Sucker Punch to a lesser extent, but he's always done quality work. What were your thoughts, Eric?
Yeah, no, I mean, I have a lot of the same sentiments for Oscar Isaac. I mean, I do. In his other films, other than Dune, I do get a kind of vanilla-ness, But after Ex Machina, there's just a lot of vanilla Oscar Isaac. And
I like that term. # vanilla Oscar Isaac.
And now, you know what? I mean, that's his fault, right? Because he doesn't have the kind of taste buds that a Jake Gyllenhaal has, or that Ethan Hawke has, where they choose very carefully what they're going to be in and what they're not going to be in, and they make sure that they are passionate about something before they sign on the dotted line, So, but that doesn't mean that someone is a bad actor or not, It's just the choices that they make. So Oscar Isaac, I felt in this role was great. I thought he had a really good, distinctive look to him. He really captured that kind of young leader essence, that he was, tasked with in the role. I mean, without really understanding the whole dynamic, I was a little bit surprised that he was the father of Timothée Chalamet in the movie. Like that kind of smacked me on the head a little bit. But after I understood that, then fine. But yeah, the Star Wars, Oscar Isaac, I felt like that there was a lot of missed opportunity there in that character. That could have been a really cool character. But I felt like that was kind of missed opportunity.
I like that comparison you made of Gyllenhaal and Ethan Hawke. That's a good parallel as far as that caliber of actor. And it's funny, as I just remembered, we did an awesome deep dive review on Drive, a year ago. It's been a year already, Chief, and of course Oscar Isaac played a vanilla character in that one. His name was. Does anybody remember what his name is?
Oh my goodness!
His name was Gabriel Standard. And the only reason I remember that is because he told the story of how he met his wife, and he said, "I am Gabriel Standard," right. And she said, "Well, where's the deluxe edition?" That's my Oscar Isaac trivia. I like what you're saying, and I agree. I liked him in this role. I think he has very few roles like this.
Yeah,
and it's not. And I hate to say it, but and I really don't want this to come across the wrong way. Because I believe he's Central American. I believe he is, and I've never seen him in any kind of a role that embraces that heritage. I always feel that he has been kind of a very vanilla, very non-committal in a character that way. So I did like this, but I would like to see him something with a little more of an anchor in who the character is, a history. Yeah, he doesn't seem like he comes from any, and just in the roles he's playing, of course, with like a seriousness or some sort of a history to it. And again, that could have been by design. Maybe he wanted to go that route. I just don't think it's really served him well. And again, that's just an opinion. Kelly, what did you think of Oscar Isaac in this film?
I think he did a good role in this film. He portrayed the kind of leader that he wants his son to grow up to be. He obviously shows that the House of Atreides cares a lot about people. He's like, damn the spice, like we'll save those people, is like teaching his son like value people over things. And I think he tried to show a lot of good leadership qualities. And he cares a lot about his family. So I think they're just trying to portray him in that way, that, the father figure who's good and sets good values for his the future.
I'm with you on
of his house.
I'm with you on that.
So
I'm with you on that, Kelly. I thought that was a great relationship between father and son, and teaching those morals. You hit the nail on the head. I really, that I appreciated a lot, was that loving guidance that Oscar Isaac was kind of pouring upon Timothy's character. I really did appreciate that. And I'm sorry, Logan, you're chiming in on that too?
Nope.
Oh, I nailed it. There you go.
Everybody said everything. It's good.
Now, what about Josh Brolin? The grizzled, man at arms, if you will. The trainer of Paul. And Logan, what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, he was great. I think Momoa was great. I mean, they played their characters and their roles. Even the other guy, what is his name? Stephen McKinley, who was the I guess the I don't know, older head of security who.
Oh, Henderson, Stephen Henderson.
No, Stephen McKinley.
Oh, my fault.
Pretty sure it's McKinley. McKinley Henderson. Sorry, you're right.
You're
right.
Gotcha. Yeah. No. Yeah,
he was great too. Like they all played their roles very, very well. Like they didn't. In sometimes I feel like you get sad that like an actor doesn't stretch, and sometimes you're like you just played to your strength and you rocked it, and that's kind of what they did with those characters. And I think that was totally sufficient. I was a little less impressed with what's her name? She played Jessica.
Oh yeah, Rebecca
Ferguson. I thought it was a little bit too much. Either I'm completely falling apart, or my chant has made me uber strong. Like there was no real kind of balance between her. I feel like I remembered a lot more of a balanced character from the 2000 or 2001 version. That I guess Saskia Reeves, I think was her name, who played Jessica. I remember that being a little bit better, and that was my introduction to Dune, really, actually, the 2000 miniseries, and then the one in 2003. But ultimately, I think everybody kind of played to their strengths, and I think maybe except for Zendaya, only because we didn't really see her get to really play to anything. She was in a lot of dream sequences, and then she showed up in real life, and then off they go. Yeah. So I mean, I think the cast was very, very well done. I was legitimately fearful of Stellan Skarsgård's portrayal of Vladimir Harkonnen. Like that was creepy. That was frightening. His suit, his prosthetics, his weirdly levitating snake body or whatever the heck that was, like he scared the crap out of me, and that was awesome.
And I also because I remember that the one that I saw was back in the 80s. Oop. I'm getting a bit of echo here. Sorry about that. Is that better? Justin said, okay.
You're good.
Yeah, the one back in the 80s, and the Baron was portrayed by Kenneth McMillan. And again, as a young person watching, let's just say, his proclivities, it really threw me. I wasn't ready for what I was seeing. And they didn't really play into that this time. He was just more, savage, but he wasn't as, let's just say,
grotesque.
yeah, well,
yeah, this was grotesque. That's a great word.
Yeah. Because I remember in the prior one, in the 80s one, the Baron had boils, and he had like medical teams treating his boils, but also with the heart plugs, and how he would take a heart plug out and kind of bathe in their blood, and it was very Hellraiser like. I wasn't really into all that at that age. Now I watch that 5 times a day, but back then it was very unsettling, very, very, very damaging to a young Julian. And Logan, I think it was Francesca Annis that played Lady Jessica.
When? Oh, back in the 84 one?
Back in the 84, yeah.
84, you're right. I actually don't know. I know I have the 84 one on DVD. I don't know if I've seen it, and if I have seen it, it's been 20 years. But my introduction to all the characters I'm remembering are coming from the 2000 sci-fi miniseries.
Oh, I've never seen it. I might have to check that out.
That was my introduction to it. And then the 2000, actually, you know what? It probably wasn't that one. It was probably the 2003 Children of Dune, where Sci-Fi bought the rights and re-showed that miniseries in 2000. Because, I definitely did not see the 84 one until, well, spoiler alert, I was born that year, so I clearly didn't see it when it came out.
Oh, well, you're aging very well. Look at you.
So,
now let's talk about production. First thing I thought about when I was watching this was the score, and I was thinking about you, Logan. I was like, I wonder if Logan has an opinion on this score.
The score was exceptional, except when it overpowered the scenes. There were definitely some aspects where the music was so much that it was just like, wow, I'm hearing this amazing music. Like a good score shouldn't overtake what you're seeing on screen. It should complement to such an extent that they can make use of silence, or make use of key change, or make use of things subtly to shift the way the audience is feeling about a scene. But there were some scenes where it was just like, and music. That was a little over the top.
Yeah, I found some of the music distracting, quite frankly. I thought it was sometimes off note. No pun intended. But I'd be like watching a scene, and they're doing this big cinematic kind of a score, and I'm just like, no, now's a quiet time. Now's but they just kept throwing that I don't want to call it like a synthetic ethnic swoosh, but that's what it essentially was. It was like
they definitely tried to force it a bit, but I will say, though, speaking of sound things, the sound design was phenomenal. Specifically, all of the nuanced details around those bug copters, and every move of the propellers and them coming out, and the difference in the engines, and the way that they go ahead and spinning up. Like, if you listen carefully to it, like, everything in that universe had its own unique sound that seemed to make sense. They spent a lot of time on designing the sound elements for all of the different pieces. And that I took note of, and just that bug copter in particular, I loved the way they made it sound like its own thing. So it's like they could play it coming off screen, and you're like, I know what that's coming. It's one of those bug copters that's coming, because it was so unique. That was phenomenal.
And I liked the design of that. I liked the because normally when you see something like that, it may just be, and here's a bug helicopter. But no, you saw the mechanics of how it played to actual aerodynamics. Oh, and hey, here's Ramon. Hey, he's welcoming you, Kelly.
Yes, I see that.
And I really appreciate that how you saw it start up. Just the mechanics of how the wings would extend and then slowly start to rotate, and also how it would dive, and just the aeronautics of it. Now, I'm not an aerospace engineer, but I'm assuming that's how things work.
And even when the rockets kicked in and they were getting above the sandstorm, that was a whole different sound, but somehow it still mixed with everything. And even the little assassination bug thing that was going to get them, like all of it had their own sounds, and they all really just felt like the right sounds for all of those things.
And you know what was killing me though, because I remember when that came in, and it was, it did have you like tensed up, and but now tell me this: was that well, you probably don't remember, but the only reason I'm saying this is because I don't like parallels like this. It reminded me so much of Star Wars Episode 2, where there was the
true, but this came out before Star Wars, so.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Did they have those little things in the first one? Is that from
the real question is, were they in the 67 book?
Yeah. The Hunter Seekers. That's what.
And if they were, then
that's what I'm saying. Like this came out.
Yeah.
As for science fiction piece. Yeah. So I don't know if it did remind it. It's their right to use it.
That is true. Then I'll say that George Lucas ripped them off when he made
ripped them off well.
Yeah, exactly. So instead of like a flying little insect, it was a worm, or I guess some sort of a creepy caterpillar, a millipede of death. Anyway, and what about the locations? Because the set design. Not the locations, because once they're on, it's Arrakis. Is that the parent?
That's the desert planet. Yeah,
the desert planet. That, I mean, it is what it is. It's a desert planet, but the set design and the ship design, the scale was so large, and at times it almost seemed comically large. Especially like I think the big transport that was up in the sky that looked like a funnel. And the ships are just like fleas coming off that thing. I mean, the scale, I mean, it looked like a planet. Hey, Eric's back.
I'm so sorry.
No.
So many technical issues.
Listen,
all good.
Listen, in this post-COVID world, I mean, remember they had Tonight Show and all those. They were all using Zoom. So, we are allowed small glitches in the matrix, as it were. But we were just talking about the sound design, and Logan said, that they need to learn the art of shutting up when they're playing their music, and just letting a moment. I'm paraphrasing, of course.
The score was overpowering in areas so that you were like, "Oh, hey, music! All right."
Exactly.
It's like that saying, like they're in a dark place, but there's light, and no, you're not supposed to say, "Oh, where's the light coming from?" It's just you don't think about it.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's kind of like that. At the same time, I thought the score was kind of good at having this kind of, I wouldn't say sinister undertone, but maybe, as I think they're trying to pose Paul as an anti-hero, which we'll see how that unfolds. No spoilers, but something is afoot.
Well, I definitely liked it when they were when they were dealing with the Baron, because that obviously he's the heavy, and there was a lot of that, but and let me put it this way: Jason Momoa's character. Does Jason Momoa ever play another character other than Jason Momoa?
Not really, no.
Yeah, I mean, but you're like, I mean, and
I haven't seen that new Netflix film, so I'm not sure.
What
he's not playing Jason Momoa in that film, but
has
he finally done a romantic comedy? Really?
Yeah. You know what? I would like to see him in a comedy, because he's. I know he's in one where is that the one where Kelly, is that the one where he has a daughter or something like that?
I think yeah.
Yeah, and he's got to fight some local ruffians. Yeah.
I think from the trailer, I think that's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's basically a Jason Statham, B project kind of. But you know what? Remember this scene. Because I love this scene. Javier Bardem, when he was first introduced to the Duke, and he walks in and he's just pure on Javier Bardem, and he's unimpressed with everybody, and he's just I like the culture though, where he spit on he spit and just spit on the table of the Duke, and everybody's like about to go full sword on him, and then Jason Momoa's like, whoa.
Yeah,
we appreciate your moisture, because in their world moisture is everything. That's money, that's like cash. And I even remember when they were like kind of hidden in a tunnel and they had to spit in a moisture converter to generate like a drink, and which was gross, but it seemed appropriate, if you're in a world where moisture is everything. And I also like how when they first ambushed Paul and his mother, and they were like, you have nothing to offer us but the moisture in your skin. and I was like, that's some savage living. But Javier, I love him, he's I think he killed in this one too. Dave Bautista didn't do a lot. He just literally showed up and acted very creepy, but
it was enough.
Yeah, there you go. And Charlotte Rampling, I have not seen her in forever. Playing the and I forget her title, but the Mother Queen, the Mother Witch, or whatever she was. That was some again, amazing cast. I thought the set design was good. I'm not thrown, but a little disappointed with the palette, only because everything was so blue, and then everything was so like desert, sepia tone. There wasn't a lot of variety, and I know that's probably by design, but
I think part of it was that we didn't see any other worlds either.
Mm-hmm. We just saw Arrakis. Yeah,
we just saw Arrakis and a little bit of the Atreides homeworld, and that was really about it.
Yeah.
Well, no, I guess we saw the Harkonnen one, and that was kind of just rain. So, black, beautiful, and desert. I mean, meh.
Yeah,
we didn't go anywhere else.
Exactly. I was underwhelmed by the locations. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
But again, it's not Star Wars where they're going from planet to planet, and it's not like they're going from Hoth to the Dagobah system.
And maybe over the 3 films or whatever this will take, it may broaden the whole palette out, but there just wasn't enough in the story, really, places to go in this one.
Very true. Very true. Now, it's funny, and more to that, the effects, because Logan, you said that you liked the Baron's prosthetic. Because I saw it in a theater and I was like right up on it, it was a little flawed to me, just a little flawed. It wasn't bad. It was not bad, but on the big screen, you kind of saw they were filtering it a lot.
Interesting.
On TV, I'm sure it looked phenomenal, but
it did. I did not catch any of that from where I was sitting on my couch.
Yeah, I'm beginning to regret seeing theaters. I mean, don't get me wrong, the scale was fantastic, but
I was about to say, I was thinking some of those shots look so good in the theater. I was like, yeah.
No,
some of the wide universe shots,
You're
and stuff,
right.
like an IMAX theater on some of those with the music, like that would have been amazing. But yeah.
Absolutely. The big space scenes and things like that looked fantastic.
And that was the thing about the scale too, was that it was comically large, maybe in space, but I feel like it was one of the few movies that actually felt like the scale was accurate, kind of on the planets and near the ships and stuff. Like, so often I feel like, a person is going to stand on 4 decks, and it's like, how many people can really fit on that ship? And they're just off on the scale. But this one, I think, was so grand that it felt more impressive in some way. I really like the scale of it, at least as far as the ships coming into atmosphere and on the planet and stuff. I couldn't quite get a sense for the ones in space, but let's be serious, that nobody's really trying to. But I like the scale and the size of things on the ground for sure.
Interesting.
I really like those. I really like those scenes where they're kind of looking out in the desert landscape, and then they're talking about a worm, and then they zoom in, like in that area where the worm is. It's kind of like a technical type of zoom. I really liked that. That was really cool.
Again, I'm not trying to say anything bad, but it did remind me of episode 4 of Star Wars, where Luke is, looking for the droids, and he's using the binoculars, and you have that.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Again.
But without all that crud on the viewfinder,
Yeah.
Yeah, and Lucas just got to it first. I mean,
Yep.
that's the thing. Like, this was Frank Herbert did this in '67.
Yeah, I think we can all agree Lucas is, let's just say, heavily influenced by, other people's stories, to be kind. Oh, and Ramon just gave us a I guess, insight that Jason Momoa was in Pride and Prejudice and Aquaman. So I guess those were his comedic roles. I don't know if Aquaman was comedy, but that's
it had some humor in it. But
yeah. Well, Jason, he was apparently also really, really early on in like 40-odd episodes of Baywatch back at the end of its run.
Yes.
Pre-beard, pre-long hair.
Well, and also pre-waist. He wasn't like, Jason Momoa. He was just
pre-Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
That was kind of fun too. But no, I mean, I don't know. I feel like, comedians do the best drama actors, and I would love to, as much as anybody who knows me would like their eyeballs to bug out when I say this, but I would love to see him in a Hallmark movie just to see what he would do with it. Exactly. It's ridiculous. It sounds ridiculous. Yeah, but he was still playing Jason Momoa in Stargate Atlantis. There was no question there. That was the first Jason Momoa, maybe. But I want to see him in a rom-com, in something just totally off kilter, off his normal bit, and he can still look like he looks and dress like he dresses. I don't even care. Keep that juxtaposition, but just put him as like, trying to win over a little kid or a grandparent. I don't even care. Just something totally stupid and cuddly, and I want to see him rock it.
Well, and he does have like a lot of that bro energy, that laid back kind of a swagger.
And can you imagine him and like a little girl from like a single mother trying to bond so that he can like take her to a Christmas party at his like gym or something? Like, it writes itself. Come on.
The whole thing sounds like The Rock in The Babysitter, or Vin Diesel in The Protector, or whatever.
Totally.
Yeah.
He needs one of those.
I think it's in the works, because he can't just keep playing some rough mountain man who can basically fight bears. That's about all he's been doing. But anyway, yes, I think we can all say that this is a good cast, good use of the characters. Clara's able to jump in, and she's saying that she's not adverse to his muscles. And again, don't get me wrong, I'm not anti-muscle. That's been floating around on the internet that I don't like muscles. That is not true. Muscles are fine.
We're not hating on the muscles. We want just them in a good sweater, holding the kid, being cute.
Yes.
That's all.
Yes, exactly. With some kittens,
Yeah.
But
a little bit of
puppies,
snow. Yeah, kittens, puppies, a little bit of snow, a holiday theme. Oh, it'll be perfect.
It would be. I mean, what's the big Christmas movie that they hit that Mariah Carey song every year to death?
All I Want for Christmas Is You. Yeah.
Yeah, but what's the name of the movie that's from?
It was from
the
movie?
Yeah. That was from the movie, the Christmas movie. It stars what's his name? The British guy who was married.
That narrows it down.
I know. I was like that one guy who's British.
He was married to Elizabeth Hurley, and then
Hugh Grant.
Hugh Grant. Thank you. He made some bad choices, but
definitely.
Again, he's a guy, so he can get away with it. So it's, but no. I think Yes. I think Jason Momoa, romantic comedy. Just don't go down the Matthew McConaughey role where it's all romantic comedies and you're, basically, taking off your shirt on the beach for 10 years, even though Clara May.
His later roles, he expanded off from that.
Oh yeah, no,
considerably, but yes, at the beginning it's just like
the
rom-com.
rom-com.
Yep.
Yeah.
For him. Anywho, back to Dune.
Yes, back to Dune.
Yeah.
Enough about Jason Momoa's muscles. Back to Dune. This is serious business. And anyway, so I did like the wardrobe, the look to it. I liked, the ship design. I thought it was so epic it almost seemed just unfathomable, like how you could construct something that large on all these, planets. But again, it played visually very compelling. And yeah, let's see. Anything else that you liked or did not like about this?
I think the only other thing I'll throw out as far as an actor and thing that I like, and somebody who has just been showing up everywhere in the last 5 years, and I'm going to butcher his last name, but David Dastelmain. He 100%. Just, yes. Even in the littlest scenes and littlest things, like his demeanor, his delivery, his ability to just, I don't even know what it is about him, but whether it's Flash or Polka Dot Man in Suicide Squad or this here, and I know I've seen him in other things that I'm forgetting at the moment. Ant-Man, yes. You name it. He has just been showing up left and right, and he was in even the voice in What If, I think it was the Marvel Zombies one. He was a voice in that.
Really?
And the Flash in all sorts of stuff. Like, I feel like I've seen him everywhere, and I just want to see more of him. He has just been fantastic.
Agreed. And yeah, when you said Polka Dot Man, loved him in that. I will just say that because that was such a damaged and beautiful character all at the same time. Kelly, any final thoughts on this that stood out to you, or are you excited about the potential of a sequel, or are you just like, no?
Oh yeah, I'm excited about a sequel. I just am interested how they'll handle it going forward, because this thing gets weird. Okay,
really,
there was some very weird stuff that happens. I'm just curious how they'll adapt some of the things to the screen. So I'm interested in that. And, they didn't cover a lot of the world building in this. They covered as much as they could. And that's probably why it ran 2 hours plus to cover all the world building. And then we need to have a payoff with some kind of adventure or something after that. Some intrigue after setting up all this stuff. So what is my point?
Well,
it gets weird.
Yeah, no, I'm also curious to see, bring on the weird. I love seeing unique things, and
right. I think in the 1984 film they had these navigators, which are these blob things, but they're like computers that are organic kind of computers, because computers and robots were banned after a war. So we didn't cover all of the world building, but a good enough portion of it.
Interesting. I want to see that, and I want that explained in the upcoming ones. Eric, I know we're about to wrap it up. What were your takeaways on this? Because I definitely like what Kelly and Logan are saying in regards to the potential of the future. What are your thoughts?
I'll try to make it quick. The first thing I'll say is that I wasn't really a Timothée Chalamet fan. Hopefully I'm not butchering his name before this, but I was curious to see how he would do, and man, he nailed it. I mean, totally nailed it for me. I'm so interested in his character in this series. The second thing I'll say is that Dune is not the Marvel universe. In the Marvel universe, anything can happen. You can kill characters. They can come back to life. They can inhabit other people's bodies. Your craziest imagination can happen in the Marvel universe. This is not that. So, there's a little bit more finality in this universe going forward, in my opinion, from what I've seen so far. So there's a little bit more gravity to this universe. It's very interesting to me. I like some of the connections that Herbert made between spice and being able to travel from one place to another. That has all kinds of, there's so much imagination there as far as, okay, well, I could take this drug, right, and I can transport to this other dimension. And there's so many different layers that you can go into with this subject matter. So I'm very interested in watching all the extras on it and then watching the movie again. So yeah, I'm very, very happily that there's something new, that's interesting. So that's all I got.
That's true.
Yeah.
We're talking about a very high level overview of this film, but there are so many philosophical things that we're not even getting to, which is like environmentalism, taking advantage of Native peoples and their sacred resources, all kinds of things.
Replace spice with oil. Like, I mean, come on.
Or peyote,
right.
or what,
exactly.
No, it's. I mean, I don't want to call it, Avatar meets Dances with Wolves, but it's the story as old as time. The big industrialized machine comes and just stomps on the little guy, taking his resources, and but you just expand it over a galaxy, and just say, instead of Northern America, it's this planet, and or the Middle East, and it's a little too on the nose. It's a little too on the nose.
And I think there's also an element of the charismatic leader, and this planting of seeds of worship of the charismatic leader, culty kind of things that we're maybe setting up for the next one.
We could do a whole nother. We could do a whole other 45 minutes or an hour on this thing.
About all of that stuff.
There's just colonialist expansion of it's incredible.
It's just like hard sci-fi. This isn't the Marvel universe. It's hard sci-fi. Like there are anything can happen, but there has to be an explanation as to how the thing did happen, a scientific basis, some kind of engineering, some kind of clockwork, something.
That's why I like it.
Explain it.
Exactly, and just for the people at Marvel, we're not anti you, so don't don't come after us. Don't come after us. No. But you're 100% right. This is rooted in actual things. I think this succeeded where George Lucas failed when he tried to reboot the Star Wars and throwing a whole bunch of Senate hearings and things like that, because he just didn't care. This, you actually saw the basic, the flaws of man in society, blah blah blah. Anyway. I think this was fantastic. I think we will do a deeper.
I thought it was trash.
Well, it's good trash. It's trash, trash to discuss. And no, I did like it. I think we'll really be able to have a more in-depth conversation after the second one comes out. Knock on wood. Hopefully that'll happen.
Second and third.
Hopefully.
I mean, it was originally, Dune. What is it? Dune Messiah and Children of Dune. Like kind of the way he broke up his original novel. So. Ideally,
I hope 6
total. Yeah, and more that I know that Brian Herbert, I think, is his son, and no, I'm getting that wrong again because it's Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson, I think, continued the series. There have been a boatload of Dune novels and stuff after that, so there's a lot in the world there. But at least as far as the original novel goes, I'd like to see them at least finish the whole original mega novel, and then we can really rip it apart and figure out
House of
everything.
Atreides kind of story arc, right?
Yes.
I am looking forward to it. And again, I'll tell you what, if we can, maybe we can do some watch parties on the series that you were talking about. That way I can get some of that background information. And Ramon, he says he likes the original Dune. But Ramon, you should have watched you should have been on here with us now instead of chatting remotely. But we love you, buddy. Thanks for chiming in. And everybody out there, we appreciate you letting us go on for over the time we allotted ourselves to discuss this. But I think overall we enjoyed it. but we're definitely hoping that there will be some new, parts of the story to be revealed. It cut off a little abruptly, in my opinion, but it does leave me wanting more. Let's just hope that the studio machines and the box office and all that will allow it to come back for a second one. Who knows? This is uncharted territory with the hybrid of releases.
Yeah.
So we will see. Anyway, Kelly, Eric, thank you for joining us on this one. And Logan, of course, as always, thanks for being the anchor to the show. And everybody out there, leave in the comments below what you thought about this new Dune. Does it, live up to what you were expecting? Do you think it, set up a good foundation to have a franchise, kind of a springboard off of this? Let us know in your comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, if it's worthwhile, it is worth binging.